Well, here we are on the final Monday of July, and the good news is that we are that much closer to real football. The bad news is it's still July. It's 294 degrees outside, and there's probably still 2 to 4 weeks before we find out who the next quarterback of the New Orleans Saints might be, if we don't kind of know already. Doesn't mean we can't debate it, because it was an interesting first week of camp for Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, and yes, even Jake Haener. So let's discuss it among ourselves on Mano Monday and whatever else y'all want to talk about on the Dattitude podcast coming up next.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? We haven't had a good Mano Monday in quite a while, so I think it is time to bring it back. What do y'all think? And of course, we'll involve Gabe in the fun, and we'll do it on Dattitude, episode number 395, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, July the 28th, 2025. The penultimate show of July for us. Y'all know that I love using that word whenever I get a chance. Us Westbankers like to pretend we're smart and use them big words. Well, let's get back to words I know how to spell. If you are new to the no, I'm sorry. Okay. Slap out of it. You can do it. All right, here we go. If you're new to the show, there you go. I'm your host, Jim Derry, 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of the Dat family. We've got a lot of new members to the Dat family. We welcome them all in. We had a great week last week on YouTube. And we hope that you can all join it. You know, if you haven't clicked that button, if you haven't subscribed yet, got plenty of time to do so. Just jump on the train. It's moving fast, but we'll help you on. What is most special about our show? You can be a part of today's episode and every episode. You know that by typing in your comments. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And if you're watching after the fact or listening on any of the major podcast platforms, you know, and you weren't able to get a comment in, you can either comment on the YouTube stream here after the fact. Well, we could talk about it later on. Or you can get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. via email at jderry@theadvocate.com. It is very true today because it is Mano Monday, and I don't know the last time that we had one. You know what? There's a comment on here that I want to show. One of our, speaking of the Dat family, prayers going out this morning to you, Rocky. Dattitude prayers for sure. Good morning, Dattitude Nation. It says, need a break from reality. We're going to lose the grandbaby. So life sucks at the moment. Nonetheless, I'm here. Well, we're here with you, Rock. Definitely. Prayers. I mean, I can't imagine. You know, we've talked about quite a few on our journey here to all this together. We have all had our moments. A lot of you have been with me for 4 years, and a really good bit of you have been here since we rebooted the show, or not rebooted the show, rebranded the show, I guess, back in March of 2024 last year. A whole bunch of you have been with me since then. And so you are part of the family. And so Rock and others, when you're going through tough things like that, we are certainly here with you, as Chad Gage is this morning. Man, tough one. So we're thinking about you. I'm going to get some other comments in a few minutes. I do want to talk about what is on the show this morning. Again, it is Mano Monday. I don't think we've had one since, and Errol's pick says prayers for sure. I don't think we've had a Mano Monday since before I went on vacation. So it's been a couple months. So we're going to have one today. Just me. It's Gabe is here. I think he's wearing his Texans shirt. And oh Lord, I need a drink. It's just water. Not going to help me probably. It is pH water though. Thanks to UBN for that. So what is on the show? Are we closer to naming a QB1? What kind of, can you read through the lines? anything we've seen from this first week tell us anything? We're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to go through some of the things that our writers have talked about on NOLA.com/sports/Saints. So we're going to go through that. I wanted to bring up Danny Stutzman because I know that you guys have been excited about Danny Stutzman and the possibility. You love that 4th-round pick. And you know what? He made a big play this weekend. And we got a small clip. We got a 1 minute and 13-second clip. I don't think I'd have a clip of Kellen Moore speaking on this show. Even his open introductory press conference, I don't think we ran it. If we did, I don't remember it. So I know this is the first practice clip that I'll show. We'll show that of Kellen Moore, and he got him talking about a few different things. And one of them is Danny Stutzman. Somebody asked him about that. He's talking about the QB1 race. We'll hear what he had to say about that yesterday as well. That's all coming up. Alvin Kamara, we talked a little bit about it last week. He's officially 30 years old now. He turned 30 on Friday. Happy birthday to AK-41. We have already seen signs in camp that Alvin Kamara is not going to touch the ball nearly as much as he's been touching it, and nor should he. And we've talked about why. You've got to keep him fresh, regardless of your record. Now, look, all bets are off. If somehow the Saints get themselves involved in a playoff race, and you get to Thanksgiving and you're actually still in a race, like realistically in a race, not 4-8 and you're mathematically allowed. That's not what I'm talking about. If you're realistically in a playoff race, then all bets are off. Maybe you change things. Maybe Alvin Kamara starts playing more. But I think you're going to see something that we haven't seen before, and that's Alvin Kamara getting a lot of rest. Now, a lot of them are getting a rest because I like the way that Kellen Moore is handling the summer so far. We're going to get into that all as well. What did you do over the weekend? Besides probably get wet. It was raining a lot of the weekend until yesterday. That heat came back. But we didn't do a whole lot here at the Derry household. Yesterday, we did go visit with some family. Shout out to my in-laws. We did get to see them, and then met a nice couple from Florida. My stepmom had some stuff to give me, and my dad's. We talked about that before. That my dad passed away last year, so got a nice little package, but it was bittersweet. It was a little tough. So I got some stuff from my dad, and I thank my stepmom Donna Derry for sending that to me. That's what we did over the weekend. What about you guys? What did y'all do? Did you watch some baseball? Congrats to Ichiro, CC Sabathia, even former Astros pitcher Billy Wagner made it to the Baseball Hall of Fame. All three very well deserved. And by the way, and I've said this before, I said it about Derek Jeter. I would say the same thing about Ichiro. The numbnuts who didn't vote for Ichiro in the first ballot for Hall of Fame should have that vote pulled from them. Some of these people who would just want to get their name, their 15 seconds of fame, because you know what? I'm not going to vote for this person, even though they deserve it on the first ballot. It's like whoever doesn't vote for Drew Brees in the first ballot, you should have your vote pulled because you're an idiot. So whoever didn't vote for Ichiro, 99.7% of the people voted, which means one person didn't vote for Ichiro. We gave the same thing happened to Derek Jeter, and I actually gave that moron time. I gave him my time. I don't know why I did, but I did. So I'm not doing that anymore. Anyway, y'all all know who deserves to be in there. Who else we got here this morning? Rob's here. Good morning. Mark Gapsky. How about them Padres? I don't know, man. Good morning. Who that? Gerard Simino. Good morning. And to the Dat family. Earl's Picks. We just saw him. Who that? Happy Monday. Booker's here. Welcome. Tom Trice. Where you at? Who that's? Virginia Moore is watching on Facebook. You could subscribe to be a part of the Dattitude family, Virginia. We welcome you in. Sean is here. Good morning. What am I looking forward to seeing on the first day with pads on? That is an easy one, Sean. You know what I'm looking forward to? No injuries. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want no injuries. That's what we look to more than anything. I mean, look, again, we're going to get to the quarterback battle in just a minute. And Gerard Simino says, praying for Rocky and his family, for sure. Daryl Romero is here. God bless you in the show, and prayers for all who need it. We're always looking for some prayers, for sure. Earl's picks. Shough hit some beautiful passes. I think they all did. Even the Rat. We got to give him some love. Although I don't think any of them had a great day yesterday. We'll get into that. Charles Mangus, good morning. Good morning, Dattitude family. Watched Happy Gilmore 2. How many of y'all watched Happy Gilmore 2? I have not gotten into it yet because my girls both want to see Happy Gilmore 1. They have not seen it, so I'm going to say, I will say this. I'm not usually, when it comes to sequels like that, especially, I'm going to be meh. I mean, I want to see it, but I will say that most of my friends who have seen it so far have given it a thumbs up. So I'm going to see it regardless, but we'll see. A couple other things I want to talk. I got some more comments. I'm going to come back to the comments in a minute. But there's something I wanted to talk about. I don't remember whether I saw it yesterday or Saturday, but it pissed me off. So I'm going to talk about it here on the show. And it was Bill Simmons. Did y'all see this, by the way? I'm all wrapped up. Sorry, in my cord here. Yeah, I'm a little verklempt, a little peeved, a little pissed off this morning. Did y'all see what Bill Simmons had to say about the New Orleans, the city of New Orleans and the Pelicans? Okay, before I give you some numbers to show you he's absolutely full of shit and doesn't know what he's talking about. And I actually wanted to put, and I backed off. I wanted to put piss off Bill Simmons on the title side, but I backed off. Probably should have. But the headline on NOLA.com says Bill Simmons says, quote, buzz is pointing to the Pelicans leaving New Orleans. Now, I'm not going to get on my own people. I don't know that there's buzz. The only buzz is Bill Simmons, I think, actually saying it. That's the buzz, is Bill Simmons wants to make something out of it. All right. We're going to get into some of the quotes that he says here, again, on NOLA.com, put together by our own Rashad Milligan. Let's see, what day was this posted? This is actually posted Friday. I didn't see it until Saturday. He says, quote, well, there's some situations where there are some franchises that could maybe move to a different city and be more successful. That other piece of this, specifically New Orleans. He says, quote, and I don't mean to start panic on New Orleans basketball. No, you just want people to click on your dumbass show and listen to it because you're becoming irrelevant. I added that part in. He didn't say that. That's not in his quote. I'll get back to his quote. Quote, I'm also not sure if there's enough of a fan base in place to even care that much. But the Smoothie King Center lease ends in, I think, 2029. It is 2029. This is an experiment that has not worked for 50 plus years in New Orleans of professional basketball. Blah, 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 blah. He says, he suggested maybe they could go, maybe the Pels could go to Seattle, Las Vegas, Mexico City, maybe Nashville. He says, quote, I look at a situation like New Orleans, and I don't know what the time is worth in its current state. I don't know what it's worth playing in the Smoothie King Center. Playing in a market that is clearly not responding to basketball like these other markets. And it's like if someone just bought them and moved them to Seattle and paid everybody's relocation fees and didn't have to split up everyone's media rights, that seems like that's where this is headed. I think there's some, and I'm just going to say it, quote, I think there's some buzz starting that way that this New Orleans thing may be the situation. Now, first of all, number one, more than anything, completely and utterly made up. Show me 1 ounce of proof. You don't even need to tell me who said it, but give me some quotes from people. They could be unnamed sources. You are full of crap and you're looking for clickbait. As of, and I don't have the percentage from last year, but from 2023-24 season before last, and the trajectory, by the way, was going up. You know where the Pelicans ranked in percentage of capacity of the Smoothie King Center? Again, I don't have I have last year's attendance figures that I'll get to in a minute. But from 2 years ago, the percentage of capacity, who was number one in the NBA? The Dallas Mavericks. Who was number two? Oh, that would be the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans were number two in seating capacity and NBA attendance, the entire NBA. So let's go to last year. Well, last year they sucked. So, I mean, it's not surprising that they weren't very good, but they weren't the worst. You know who's below them You know who's right below the Pelicans in number of tickets sold to their basketball games? How about one of the teams that went to the NBA Finals? Indiana is supposed to be this mecca of basketball, right? The Indiana Pacers were below the Pelicans. The Pelicans are 24th in the NBA. The Pacers were 25th. Should they be on a trajectory? Let's get them out of it. Let's move them to Seattle. Let's move them to Nashville. You know who else was below the Pelicans? The Pelicans, 689,400 seats sold. You know who's below them by 10,000 seats? You know who has fewer attendees to their basketball games last year? How about the Los Angeles Clippers? Should we move the Los Angeles Clippers from LA? Nobody wants to go see basketball in LA. Just things like this, just completely made up crap. So when we talk about even the supposed best of the best, the well-known podcasters, the Bill Simmons of the world, Bill Simmons, completely fabricated, made up bullshit, because that's what that is. And I'm sorry, but it really ticked me off when I read that. Just made up crap. Oh, let's move the Pelicans. Why? Because you don't want the Pelicans to be in New Orleans? You want someone else there? You know what helps attendance? Winning. Winning helps attendance. And if you look at the trajectory of the Pelicans' attendance, and I talked about the percentage of capacity, and they also, this is straight from ESPN.com and Basketball Reference. They also have a trajectory, and I didn't have time to make a graphic with it. But trajectory, there are only, let's see, of the teams that through 2024, through the 2023-24 season, there were only, let's see, 5 teams who had a trajectory that was going straight up. The Pelicans were one of them. You know why? Because they were winning those seasons. Willie Green got here. They continued to win. They won more games all those years. So that's what helps attendance. Of course, market plays a small role in it, much less in the NBA than in other sports, because look, NFL, you got to fill 70,000 seats. In the NBA, you got to fill 16, 18, 20,000. Anyway, I just thought it was worth bringing up this morning. And I was going to spend a few minutes on it because I thought it was worth spending time on. It just bugs me when something is clearly fabricated. And like there is buzz going on. What buzz? There's buzz going on. Has anyone else heard about this buzz? Is Bill Simmons, he's that much the man that he's the only one that hears this buzz? You know what's going to have the Pelicans, make the Pelicans leave? If Gail Benson wants to sell them. Other than that, they ain't going anywhere. Gail Benson doesn't want to sell the Pelicans, I promise you. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Made up, fabricated BS. You know what's not made up? It's not fabricated. Let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they are a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you or someone you know, someone you love, someone you're just friends with, maybe it's someone you don't like. I don't know. Whatever it is. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemelt. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices, either on Porter Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. They don't give a rat's ass about Bill Simmons either, by the way. We'll fill you in more about what they do care about later in the show. Spoiler alert, they care about you. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. I don't know why I let stuff like that bug me. Earl, he's an idiot. A-Town says, Bill Simmons can kiss his left ass cheek. Pucker up, baby. Charles, he's with it. Charles Manga says 689,000 seats plus the suites. That's a lot of revenue. No doubt about it. All right, what else we got going on? Michelle Martin See, now, the people who know me from the old days call me Jimmy. And you want to call me Jimmy, fine. It doesn't bother me. The only thing that really bothers me is Jerry. That's a whole different story. Michelle Martin, my old Bellmead Swim Club friend. That's we going way back. Last week was my 40-year reunion, and now someone who knew me before I even graduated high school is with us. Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for being here. I miss those days, man. I've been listening to a lot of 80s this past week. I don't know if it's because of the reunion or whatever, but not that I don't listen to a lot of 80s, but I've been listening to more 80s than even usual this past week. Apathy says, Bill Simmons, he's just another national idiot running his mouth about New Orleans. Amen. All right, changing subject a little bit. David +1 hash says, Happy Gilmore 2. He stopped watching after about 25 minutes. Not your cup of tea. But what did you think about Happy Gilmore 1, David? Did you like Happy Gilmore 1? Because if you didn't, I mean, you're not going to like Happy Gilmore 2, I'm sure. Anyway, I'll give you my thoughts. I'm going to try to see it by the end of the week. If not, I don't know, soon. We'll talk about it. Hector wants to know what to make of our tight end situation. How will the adjustments to a 3-4 suit us as opposed to running a 4-3? Well, a couple things there. We can let's move on to one of these other slides here as we get when we could camp in the books. Yeah, that one. Let's see. All right. Tight end situation. First of all, we talked about it very briefly on Friday's show. By the way, the most watched show we've had in a couple months. Boy, y'all are getting fired up. We appreciate everyone watching the show on YouTube. And give us a like, by the way. We talked about Noah Fant coming in. He's also, he was just released by the Seattle Seahawks. He is going to talk to a couple other teams. It would be great if Noah Fant would come here because the tight end situation right now is absolutely a point of concern. It is one of the points of concern for this football team because other than Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, banged up, hurt. Taysom Hill, almost certainly going to start the season on the PUP list. So what, Dallin Holker? I mean, this team needs help. And then the draft pick from was he picked in the 6th round? This team needs a tight end. So as far as tight end goes, I think you're going to see someone brought in. I would be surprised. It might not be Noah Fant because he might not want to sign here, but it's going to be someone. Someone is going to sign here with New Orleans. I would be very surprised if they don't bring someone else in. As far as the defense goes, and we kind of talked about Danny Stutzman and what's going on, I think Hector, I think you're going to see a slow adjustment. I don't think they're going to go straight to the 3-4 right off the bat. I think you're going to have to, you can't make a drastic change that quickly, especially when you're talking about how bad this defense was last year and how big of a turnaround they took in the wrong direction. So we'll see how that goes. So good morning, Virginia. Sav says, huge series starting tonight, Cubs and Brewers. No doubt about it. If you're into baseball, that is the series to be watching right now for sure. What else we got here this morning? Charles says, I haven't called you Kramer in a while. Yeah, so you don't want me to call you Kramer. Okay, you don't call me Jerry. I won't call you Kramer. Apathy, I did not see you this morning. JT Cray went down with a lower leg injury this morning. Is it serious? Gabe, can you do a search on that and see if you can find anything about JT Gray, who is the special teams captain and backup defensive back? We'll take a look. Rocky, appreciate you all. Man, we're thinking about you. Gabe says he doesn't see anything. We will try to check into that. If we don't see it today, we will talk about it on Wednesday's show. By the way, coming up in the next couple shows, or the next few shows, you see that we're on show number 395. Even me with my Shough math, we told you before, West Bank skills, my math skills tells me we're getting close to show number 400. Wednesday on show number 396, Robin Fambro, the greatest prep writer of all time, who is retiring from us here at The Advocate, will be on the show on Wednesday. Of course, we will also talk about the Saints. Gabe will be here, I believe. I think Gabe's going to be here Wednesday. He says yes. So we'll have plenty to talk about on Wednesday. I don't know who's coming on Friday. Monday, we might do Mano Monday again, and then next Wednesday. But show number 400 is scheduled for August the 8th. Jim Henderson will be our guest. I'm really looking forward to that. the former voice of the New Orleans Saints, the longtime voice of the New Orleans Saints, will be here on Friday, August the 8th. Also, our NFL previews will begin on Monday, a week from today. We're going to do them in the form of shorts. I figured out how I'm going to do them. I'm going to do 2 a day. It's going to be one. I'm going to pick a division. It's going to be, I think we're going to start with the AFC East and the NFC East. So we'll do the AFC East short in the morning, NFC East short in the afternoon. That's 4. That's 8 a day for 4 days. And then on Friday, Gabe and he'll tell me how wrong I am on Fridays when we put them all together. And so that'll be 4 weeks worth of stuff there. Gabe says nothing out there in JT Gray. Doesn't see anything. So I don't know. Apathy. I don't know what's up with that. What else we got here this morning? I want to get to the Charles says, did you see this? Hendon Hooker retired? I didn't see that. Did you, Gabe? I mean, he didn't play hardly at all. We'll look that up as well. I don't know. One Smoke is here. Finally catching the show after that long vacation. Well, we welcome you back. What do I want to talk about? Oh, the quarterbacks. Duh. What is your thought on the quarterbacks? Because I have something I want to talk about when it comes to that this morning. Let me change my slide here. Who is the leader to win the QB1? Now, we have talked about this multiple times, obviously. And look, there are plenty of Spencer Rattler fans out there, and we've talked about, look, I have backed off from what I said months ago that I thought there was no chance that he would start this season. I think there's probably a 25 to 30% chance he gets the start. And I think I'm probably higher than a lot of other people in the media. Gabe Henderson says, by the way, not Hendon Hooker. He's still playing according to news report. So I'm not sure what you saw that, Charles, but unless you're talking about a different Hooker, Hendon Hooker is still playing. He's been in the league this is his second season coming up. So I'd be surprised if he was, and he obviously had the huge injury, third season. Okay. Obviously had the huge injury, but I haven't heard anything like that. So I give 25%, 30% on Rattler. What do you guys give? And I'm saying 70% Shough, right? I mean, we've talked about several times that I think Shough not only has to be beat out, but he has to be beat out really. I mean, it has to get his butt whipped, right? I mean, you're not going to bring in a guy with the 40th pick and then turn around and start the guy that was the 5th round pick from the other coach who went 0-6. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Earl's picks says 85% Shough. And that's what I think most of the media members are leaning to that. But when you look over the weekend, and we like to give you the latest updates, and we joked, and when Gabe was on here last week talking about how J.J. Watt was just, how he thought it was so stupid to give preseason. I mean, not even preseason. We're giving stats now on training camp passing numbers, which absolutely mean nothing because there's no pass rush. They don't let anybody hit the quarterback. It means nothing. However, that being said, maybe it does mean something when they're terrible. And yesterday they weren't very good. If we take a look at Matthew Parris's story from yesterday, pardon me while I take a sip. The one thing that he talks about is trying to get his quarterbacks more mobile, which is obviously something that he did with Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. But these guys did great the first couple of days. All of them did great the first couple of days of practice, but they had a rough Sunday. Now, we're going to see what they did on Monday morning in practice, but they had a rough Sunday. Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener each threw interceptions in 7-on-7 drills, according to Matthew Parris. And he says, quote, all 3 quarterbacks were uneven when work shifted to full 11-on-11. Now, he goes through the passing numbers. Again, we say these numbers are meaningless, but I really mean they're meaningless when their completion rate is 90% when they're not getting a pass rush. I'm not sure they're meaningless when they're terrible. When they're terrible and you're not getting a pass rush, I think I feel differently about that. Spencer Rattler was 5 of 11 with an interception. Tyler Shough was 5 of 10. And Haener was 3 of 3 with the ones. It's bad. That's bad for both of those guys. Again, I mean, you're only talking about in the grand scheme of things, that's 21 total passes. But you're also talking about those 2 guys combined, Rattler and Shough, combined less than 50% when they're not getting any pressure. And Matt says, if Friday's practice was Rattler, who balled out in the first half of games last season, then Sunday's version represented the Rattler who fell apart in the second half. His is splits from last year. And this is why I think he's got a huge uphill battle, and he would have to really win the job. Not just he's a slightly ahead and they're going to get, no, slightly ahead's not going to do it. If Spencer Rattler were to win the job, he's going to have to be way ahead. When you look at his splits from last year, his first half passer rating, 103.3. Now, some of you may not know what those numbers mean. Most of you probably do. If you're football fans, you know what they mean. However, you know this. First half passer rating, 103.3. Second half passer rating, 46.5. 46.5 as opposed to 103.3. Why? Because teams adjusted, as we told you. And that 46.5, by the way, that is skewed a little bit because remember the Washington game when he didn't play in the first half, when Jake Haener started the game and they put Rattler in and Washington didn't adjust because Rattler hadn't played in the first half. Well, Rattler had a great second half because he didn't play the first half. But when teams have had chances to adjust, every single time they've adjusted well. That's what worries me about him. And that's why I don't know if he's going to get a chance to play. One Smoke says 60% Rattler just because he has a better camp. Again, it's more than just having a better camp. You can't just have a better camp. Now, this is just a silly statement. Mark, I love you, and I know you're a regular part of the family. Rattler is likely starter because of NFL experience. That's just silly. NFL experience? He went 0-6. He was horrendous. If anything else, his NFL experience is the reason why he won't get a chance to play. Now, had he gone 2-4 and, looked like he was on the way up, then that would be different. You can't say he's the likely starter because of NFL experience. First of all, he's absolutely not the likely starter. No one can say he's if you think he's the likely starter, you're only saying that because you're a Rattler lover, and that's okay if you love Spencer Rattler. He is not the likely starter. He is 100% the underdog as this thing goes into this thing. Earl's pick says he's better than Caleb. He went 0-for-5 with 2 picks in the red zone drill. Yikes. Y'all know what we think about Caleb Williams. We'll get to Caleb Williams when we get to the NFC North. I guess that would be the third week probably because we usually go east, west, north, south. So, and by the way, we'll wrap it up, by the way. We'll wrap up our NFL previews a little earlier than usual on my birthday, August 29th. We'll wrap it up. Tom Trice says, Rattler has the most reps and more games played. Believe he's the starter for now. He doesn't have the most reps. He has the most reps if you count last year, which means nothing. I tell you, that means nothing. Again, look, Tom, again, if you're rooting for Rattler, great. I know a lot of you are rooting for Rattler. I know Mark Satanovich is absolutely rooting for Rattler. No question. That being said, I don't think anyone, again, 40th pick of the draft by the current new coach or the 5th round pick from the past coach who went 0-6 and had a 43.3 second half passer rating. I mean, come on. David +1 hash says Rattler starts the season just to give Tyler a little more time to get ready. Bring him in the 4th if the games are out of control and get through that nasty 4-game schedule. We've talked about this. We've talked about I think the only chance that Rattler has to start, and I think it's a realistic chance, is exactly the one that David Hash puts up here. I think the only real chance that Rattler has to start, because I don't think he's going to be that much better than Tyler Shough in camp. I seriously doubt it, or in preseason. If he is, then great. Then it's a no-lose situation. Then you put Spencer Rattler in and great. But I think the most realistic opportunity that Spencer Rattler has is what David just said. We want to give Tyler Shough a little more time to get ready. It kind of like the Patriots did with Drake May last year. Was it Jacoby Brissett who started the season last year for the Patriots? Gabe, it was Jacoby Brissett, wasn't it? Yeah. And I think Drake May came in like game 6, game 7. And you could see him improve as the season went along. Was Drake May great? No, but I think Drake May is going to be a good quarterback in this league. Great? I don't know about great. He didn't have to get thrown to the wolves like Bryce Young did in Carolina and suffered, whereas C.J. Stroud didn't suffer. So you look to 2 years ago, tales of two different quarterbacks. It's taken Bryce Young 2 years to get adjusted to the NFL, and he's fine. C.J. Stroud came in and was ready right away. What do you have here? I don't know. John Tucker says Tyler's been terrible. Tyler's been terrible at what? What are you talking about? I mean, 1 week, not even 1 week at camp. What are you going by that he's been terrible? I think they've both been about the same. Everything I've read and seen says they've been the same. Now, I have not watched the Fanboy podcast, so maybe they're saying something different. Rob Fan Guy says, or if Tyler lays multiple eggs in preseason games, but he would need to be really bad. Yeah. I think that's when it's really going to matter. I think when it's going to matter most is seeing preseason. How long are they going to wait? We talked about this with Zach on Friday. Go back. I encourage you to go back and watch shows. A great conversation. But you look at the preseason schedule, August the 10th at the Chargers. So that is 1 week from Sunday is the first. So 2 weeks from yesterday, first preseason game. So I don't think you're going to know anything by then. But I think there's a chance after that first preseason game. I don't necessarily know that he would go out and name the starter then, but I really think by that August 17th game, you're going to start to get a feel. I don't think that Kellen Moore is going to want to drag this along. It doesn't benefit the team to wait until right before, like Dennis Allen keeping everything. He liked to keep things secret. You know how all this just the silly secrets that he gave, because that's the Sean Payton school of thought. We'll keep everything secret. It does not benefit this team to keep secrets. Somebody said last week it was silly for Jake Haener to get number 1 reps. And to some degree, that's true. But you don't know who the backup quarterback's necessarily going to be. I mean, do they do the same thing? That I doubt it, but do they do the same thing that Dennis Allen? If Shough wins the job, do you make Spencer Rattler then the number 3 emergency quarterback? I don't know. And make Jake Haener the backup. We talked about this. I don't think the situation is really any different. If Tyler Shough wins the job, if Tyler Shough were to get hurt, I think Spencer Rattler is better long-term. But I think for a game, again, I think maybe Jake Haener's better. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what they're going to do with that. But I think the point is, I think they're going to figure it out. You're going to know something, I think, by that Jaguars game. If they don't at least announce it, I think you're going to start to get a feel. Kyle Sherman, good morning. His fervent hope is whoever starts is consistent growth. Look, you're going to see both of them play. Even if Tyler Shough starts, assuming he does, or it doesn't matter. Either one of them. I think you're going to see situations where they both get some playing times in regular season games, unless one of them just takes off, which I doubt. Tedder's, where you been, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Says you have to wait for actual gameplay. I don't disagree with that. I think, again, these numbers in preseason, when we're seeing like practice numbers, and again, the only time I think they really matter is if they're bad, that matters because you're not getting the pressure on you. If you stink in practice, then that's bad because you got the red jersey on, nobody's hitting you. I do want to see what happens in preseason. That first preseason game, that might be the most interesting preseason game that we've seen here in a while, right? I mean, when's the last time that this team had a real quarterback battle? Like a real quarterback battle? I don't know. I really don't. John Tucker, 25% is crazy. Tyler has been beyond terrible. Where are you guys coming up with this from? He's been terrible. Where is this coming from? That's the second. Shough has been terrible. What are you talking about? Are you talking about numbers, or are you seeing what are you talking about? I don't know where this is coming from. Charles Manga says Shough will start. JT says, this year, build your starters and leaders. Next year, try and make a run. I don't necessarily disagree with that. This is a year where you find out a whole lot about not just Shough and Rattler. Who's going to be the backup at running back? We're going to get into that in a minute. Again, I want to hear from Kellen Moore. We got, a minute and 13-second clip coming up from him in just a minute. And it's not just a quarterback battle, but he talks about Danny Stutzman. He talks about the team as a whole, what he's seen so far. Going to get into that in just a minute. David Bordelon, things being equal, Shough starts the season. If Rattler is ahead of Shough in camp and preseason games, Rattler starts the season with Shough playing as the season goes along. Look, I don't know that I 100% agree with that, David, but the thing is, one thing I definitely agree with is I think the chance of one person, and let's say barring injury, okay? Let's throw injury out of the window. I'm not even talking about injury because someone's probably going to get hurt. I mean, it's probably going to happen. But barring injury, I think there's a great chance, better than 50-50 chance, maybe better than 75% chance that neither of those guys start 17 games. I mean, what are the chances that one of those guys starts 17 games? It's small. T-Walt 67 says, oh, it's my boy Todd. He says he watched guys predicting only 2 wins this season for the Saints. So we're going to get into predictions as we go along. We're getting closer to when we start talking about predictions. Charles says Haener will be cut and bring in a vet. I don't think so. And it's not going to be Haener who gets cut. I don't think there's no reason to cut Haener. I don't think he's going to get cut. I think he will be practice squad. I think there's a legitimate chance that Haener is the backup quarterback. Legitimate. Whoa, Bio W197 says Rattler better than Shough 100%. The Rattler lovers are still out there, man. They're still there. He says Shough has sucked in practice. Ross has chartered him 11 for 20, working with the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Well, that's absolute BS right there, because on Sunday alone, he was 11 of 21 with the 1s and 2s. So you're wrong. Okay? You're wrong. I don't know where you got that number from. Oh, you got it from Ross. Is that just one day? That might be just one day. I know this. Rattler was 5 of 11 with the starters yesterday. 5 of 11 with an interception. Numbers, you keep pulling numbers out of practice from 6 days of training camp practice. If you think 6 days of training camp practice means one iota blip on who's going to be the next quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, you need to feed the pigeons on Sunday. I'll go find you a code somewhere you can get discount on birdseed and go hang out in City Park or whatever city you live in. They got to have pigeons there. Whatever. Jeez. Lance Dobard. Shough has been a rookie. Rat has been a player that lost 6 games last year. It means absolutely nothing for either. Kellen has been amazing. You're giving Kellen some love. Tom Trice. I remember when Bum Phillips platooned Kenny Stabler and Richard Dodd. Well, we're going way back in the history books. That is 41 years ago. George Rogers and Earl Campbell, too. Talk about dysfunction. Oh, boy. Kyle Sherman. We're talking practice. Not a game. Practice, Allen Iverson. Good one. Black Preacher Man's here. Good morning. Salute. I was hard on Rattler last year. Is there anything you could do to change my opinion that I don't think he's good? Yeah. And I'm tangled up again. Here we go. I'm gonna hang myself one of these days with this cord. Is there anything he can do to change my mind, Preacher Man? Yes. Absolutely. There's something he can do. How about play well in a game? That would change my mind. If he played well in a game, then my mind's going to change. We're going to get a chance to see it one way or the other. And here's the comment of the day so far. The truth is, nobody has a clue of what's going to happen. That's the truth. Mark Statanovich, a second-year player, typically has an advantage over a rookie 80% of the time. What planet do you live on? Why would he have any advantage? He doesn't have any advantage. In fact, I would go as far to say that Spencer Rattler is at a disadvantage because you got a new coach coming in with his own quarterback. There's Shough absolutely 100%, 0% chance it's not the case, has the advantage as of right now. Does that mean he's going to be the starter on day one on September the 7th or whatever day it is? No. Does it mean he's likely the starter? Yes. That's why it's so, and I'm low on 75%. Most of the media thinks it's like 90% Shough. I think it's 75% Shough. I do think there's a chance that Rattler's the starter for multiple reasons. Again, there is a slight chance that he has to be way better. He can't be just better. He has to be way better because what he did last year hurts him. It doesn't help him. The fact that he's a second-year player, that doesn't help him. It hurts him. He went 0-6 and his numbers are terrible. Hurts him. It doesn't help him. He's Dennis Allen's 5th-round pick. That doesn't help him. That hurts him against the guy that Kellen Moore drafted and wants to be the quarterback of the future. The Saints don't want to be in this boat again next year. And so what is the only way you could possibly know that you have your quarterback of the future? What's the only way you could know you have the quarterback of your future? It's to play him. That's the only way to know. It really is. Just saying. Here's Mark, I'm going to show this comment. I'm not going to keep coming back to this. Give a list of the offense. You're making excuses for why Spencer Rattler. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one iota why Spencer Rattler wasn't good. The fact is he wasn't good. It makes no difference. Nobody was saying, oh, he was great when he ran all over the place and made some good, because he made some great throws. He made some great plays. But he also made some really bad ones, and it had nothing. There were a lot of plays that he made that were bad that had nothing to do with the offensive line being bad. There were lots of plays he made where when he came, and we talked about this, when he'd come out in the second half and teams would make adjustments on him, and his first read would get all jammed up. And what happened after he got his first read jammed up? He'd either throw an interception or make a really bad pick. Sean H., from what he's seen and heard, quarterbacks have been pretty even. Again, it's what do you know from 1 week? I'm not bashing you, but you're right. That is what we've heard so far. Shough has to speed up his clock from what he's heard. I could hear that. That's what a rookie. So does Rat. He's shown quicker decision making compared to. You can't tell with no pass rush. Preacher man. So I don't believe Kellen when he says it's an open competition. Not 1 second. Not for 1 second. So the answer is no, I don't believe him. Remember when he said Derek Carr was his starting quarterback? Oh yeah. Wait. How'd that work out? All right. I want to get into a couple other things. We can still talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. Y'all want to keep talking about quarterback? That's great. But I do want to get into Kellen Moore's comments because I want to hear from Kellen Moore. We're going to come back to the comments. I got 1 minute and 13 seconds of the Saints' new coach. By the way, if you don't mind, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube channel. Give us a like. Helps the algorithm. You like helping us. We know. 1 minute and 13 seconds of Kellen Moore talking about the quarterback situation, what he's seen in camp so far, and then a little blip on Danny Stutzman that I do want to get to because I know we all agree that Danny Stutzman could be one of the great picks of this draft. Again, we don't want to get too fired up about somebody that was taken in the 4th round and we're 6 days into camp, but it's hard not to get too fired up about some guys. Kellen Moore will be right back.
Yeah, that's a big part. Ultimately, that's what we're building towards. This whole entire offseason program has been built to the point where you're actually in pads, and that's ultimately how you play this game. And so it'll be good. It'll take a few days for our guys to get used to it because it's been a long time for a lot of these guys. It's January or February that they were last wearing pads, and so there'll be an acclimation period a little bit, just getting used to that, getting the pad level low, kind of the physicality and the finish.
Well, your evaluation of the quarterbacks today, and then just in general, are they about where you hoped they would be 4 days in?
Yeah, I think there's going to be highs and lows for all of them. There's going to be some good moments. There's going to be some rough moments that we get to learn from, and that's part of what training camp is about. And so I think anytime you come off an off day, there's a little bit of get back into it. I think it's good for our guys to get used to that. You have 3 really good days, you have an off day, and now you kind of got to hop back into it and start fast. And so, all of our guys can get used to that rhythm and routine because that's how the season's going to go. Well, certainly, like every position, especially early in training camp, we're going to rotate these guys as much as we can. But I will say Danny's done an excellent job. Big-time interception today. Matched up on a receiver in the middle of the field and kind of has great awareness and feel, and he matches the routes really well and made a big-time play. And so he's just been making a bunch of consistent plays like that, and they've been showing up a ton.
Yeah, so, he's talking about the competition. Look, he's not going to give any information out right now. So, Preacher Man, when you're talking about it's an open competition, every NFL coach knows how to keep things close to the vest, even rookie head coaches. Keeping everything close to the vest. It's not going to tell you anything right now. He doesn't want anybody to know anything. He doesn't even want the players to know. He doesn't want Shough or Rattler or Haener or anyone else, Hunter Deckers even, to know who the quarterback's going to be. In his mind, he may have made up his decision already. He may have told his coach. He may have talked about it in a closed room with his coaching staff. He may not have. He may know in his own head. Maybe he told his wife. But I promise you, Shough and Rattler don't know anything because it's going to affect the way that they practice. Other things we want to talk about this morning for sure. Well, I'll show this one. We're going to move on from quarterback in just a minute. New coach at draft zone quarterback early in the draft will edge out a quarterback with any live game experience most of the time. I just don't think there's any doubt about it. By the way, and then Gabe's going to come on in about 5 minutes or so, but I'm going to ask Gabe. So be prepared for this question. CJ, the experienced quarterback's going to always beat out the rookie. Well, CJ Stroud came in and started right away. Wasn't Davis Mills the backup quarterback? Come on. You can't just say that. Let's see. All right. Leonardo, you were right. We won't know who's number one until they start preseason. I promise you won't hear an official word until after that. Owen Attilio is here. Good morning. The new coach and staff, I think quarterback have a clean slate, but Moore picked this guy. Shough is a slight advantage to see them in Gabe game situations. All right. Oh, by the way, also, I want to show this comment. David Hash, not a big YouTube guy, but officially went and subscribed to the show. Love the show. Thank you. We truly appreciate that. All right. I want to get into some other things this morning. And one of the things I want to talk about, again, before I bring in Gabe real quick, this is going to be the last thing we talk about before Gabe comes in. We're going to come back to Mano y Money for probably 10 or 15 minutes after Gabe, as we show the schedule on the screen. I haven't showed it in a while, just to remind you of what is upcoming. But that's what's upcoming. That's kind of scary, that beginning. The beginning is scary. Mark Satanovich says Kendra Miller and Isaiah Foskey on the bubble. Foskey, maybe. I doubt seriously Kendra Miller's on the bubble. I don't think so. That's why it leads into this. One smoke. Who do I think is going to be running back 2? Still having lost hope for Kendra Miller. I think it's wide open. I've actually said, I really believe this. I think Cam Akers is going to come up and steal the job. Now, this is pure speculation on my part. And we had a story. Luke wrote a story. In fact, it came on the NOLA.com/sports/Saints 4 hours ago. And the headline is, can less become more for Saints running back Alvin Kamara? That may depend on the RB2 situation. Talks about, again, happy birthday, Alvin Kamara. 30th birthday this past Friday. Already spending less time. He's not on the field as much already. Again, I can tell you this. One thing you can determine, we don't know the quarterback situation. We don't know who's going to start at other competitions, but we know this. Alvin Kamara is not going to be on the field nearly as much as a 30-year-old as he's been in the past. As Luke says, entering his 9th season, Kamara has tallied 3 of his 4 highest carry totals in the last 4 seasons. Now, these include receptions. 228 last year, 223 in 22, 240 in 21. And obviously, those seasons have largely correlated with Kamara's least explosive years as a runner in terms of yards per carry. 30-year-old cannot touch the ball as much. Who is going to win that job? That is, we talk about quarterback, and obviously that is the number one spot we're looking at right now. But we're also looking at who is going to win this RB2 job. It is important. That is probably what I'm interested in most, because I'm pretty sure I know who's going to win QB1. I have no clue. And I mean, no, I wouldn't even guess. By the way, breaking news, Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase placed on paid leave, part of league sports betting investigation. We had heard some leaks of this. And now, man, was Emmanuel Clase betting on baseball? Hope he wasn't betting on anything. We'll follow that up on Wednesday. But the running backs, real quick, that's the one that I'm interested in more than anything. That's the position I am interested in. RB2. Who's going to win it? It matters. And maybe I'm biased because I'm kind of rooting for Cam Akers. I think that he has the most talent of anyone else. Devin Neal's probably not going to win the RB2 job. He's probably going to end up on a practice squad, is my guess. Probably will be on practice squad, and then as the season goes on, we'll see playing time in games. So I think is a good chance out of Akers and Kendra Miller. I did not forget Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know. Oscar Maurice Callick said, Kellen Moore looks so young, but he believes Shough is starting. You know why Kellen Moore looks so young? Because he is young. Not even 40 yet. Leonardo says, according to our schedule, do I see us going 0-5? No. It's possible. I think they're going to beat the Giants. Or I think 1-5 is the floor. I think they're going to win. I think they may be 2-4 is probably, that's me being hopeful, I guess. 1-5 is probably more likely. I don't think they're going to go 0-5 though. I don't know. Maybe it's my gut. I don't know what it is. But if you look at that start, here's the thing that bothers me almost as much as the first 4 games. If you're looking at the schedule, the first 4 games are tough enough. And we already talked about this. We'll talk about odds again probably later in the week. But right now, Arizona, the Saints are 5.5-point underdogs at home in their opener. They're 6.5 or 7-point dogs at home to San Francisco. They're 6.5-point dogs at Seattle. They're 12.5-point dogs at Buffalo. So the odds makers certainly think they're going 0-4. Are they going to go 0-4? I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm being partly optimistic when I think they're going to find a way to win one. They find a way to win 2 of those first 5 games. They go 2-3. There's going to be a different feel about this team than I think a lot of people in the media are feeling right now. It's going to be interesting. If they go into that New England game with a chance to get to 500, is it going to happen? I don't know. I doubt it. But if they go into that New England game with a chance to get to 500, there's going to be a different feel. But here's the problem. When you look at this schedule, look what's after New England. And it's not just the teams, but those teams shaded, the shaded lines of gold, that's the home game. So 4 of their first 6 at home. After week 6, there are only 4 home games. That is just as much a problem as the first 4 game stretch. And the last 6 game stretch, 4 of 6 on the road. At Miami, at Tampa Bay, home for Carolina, home for the Jets, at Tennessee, at Atlanta. Now you may be saying, well, Tennessee and Atlanta suck. Miami might suck. It's not the teams who they're saying, they're looking at their schedule and they're like, and they're saying, I don't know what that was, but they're saying, we have the Saints at home. They're saying the same thing you're saying. That's what bothers me. Okay. Before we move on, and I'm trying not to talk too much about quarterback, but you are incorrect, sir. Whoa, Bio W197. I thank you for, you're new as far as I know, unless you're using a different name. And I appreciate you for commenting and being a part of the show. But he says Moore didn't handpick Shough, the Saints front office did. Who was in the Saints front offices? You think Kellen Moore didn't pick Tyler Shough? You cray. If you don't think Kellen Moore didn't handpick Shough, you cray. That's you wanting You want Spencer. I get it. You want Spencer Rattler to be the quarterback. Preacher Man wants to know if I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire makes the team. I don't know, man. I'd say right now I'd have to put the odds on about 50%. Lance says 10 wins are coming. That is the ultimate optimist, my friend. I love it. Without hope, life is meaningless. Without hope, life is meaningless. Charles says Winston might be cut. Do you think the Saints will sign him? No. Gabe is looking through his rose-colored glasses right now. And he's coming on the show in just a minute. But first, and I'm not done with, we got plenty more Saints talk coming up. And who knows? Gabe might talk about the Saints. I don't even know. We told you earlier we were letting you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? I thank you so much for asking. Thank you for asking that really important question. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ronnie Hamilton, the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the world. And they'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area. None with their dedication and success. Just go check it out. I'll wait. All right, go check it out and then come back to me. They are fully licensed. They are ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. And it's not the QB1 race. It's not the RB2 race. What is really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www. Say that 8 times fast, buddy D. www.evangelinesecurities.com. Gabe Henderson. Good Monday morning to you, sir.
Good morning. I'm going to apologize in advance if I'm looking down at my phone. I'm on Deion Sanders' watch at work. He's just taking the podium in Colorado. So
okay, what the hell is going on? You said something about Deion Sanders. What is going on? Why is
I don't know. He's got a press conference with his medical team right now. So we're going to.
Do you want to watch this and come back?
No, it's okay. I'm not watching it. I'm
okay.
Quote watching. So we're going to see if he steps down. If he announced that he's back, I don't know what it's going to be. So
all right, you've been and I'm going to put this on. There's the schedule. You are doing this in the background. I'm assuming that's your rose-colored glasses.
No, I was doing 0.0 to Lance's 10 wins. If this team wins 10 games, I'm covering football for the rest of my life.
Wait a minute. You broke up there. If this team wins 10 games, you're going to do what?
I will stop covering football.
No, you can't. Say, I want something that's realistic. That would affect your livelihood.
Yeah, there's a 0.0% chance this team wins.
No, I want you to come up with something that you will do if the Saints win 10 games. I want something that's realistic. I don't want you to stop covering football. That affects your livelihood. I want you to like shave your head or paint your face with the L again, or like you did a couple years ago. That's like the
Lance,
I gotta
Lance,
find
just
that
stop. You're making a fool of yourself, Lance.
He says that the Saints are going to win more games than the Texans. All right. He says
I will never watch football again if that happens.
No, you're not. Come on, something that's realistic. I don't want you to do
barring serious injury. Because if that happens, I know nothing about football.
Yeah, but you're
because this Saints team is one of the least talented from top to bottom I've ever seen. The Saints.
I disagree with that. I think
looking solely at the Saints teams through my lifetime, this is one of the least talented they've had.
Okay. Well, I mean, your lifetime.
I'm not saying when I say least talented, I don't mean least talented.
That's fair because your lifetime.
My lifetime.
Yeah, you never saw Ditka teams, so those teams were so you're basically only know good Saints teams, so that's why. Yeah. Michelle Castro Araglado Neesmith, my favorite member of my favorite. I don't want to say my favorite member because I'll piss some people off. My favorite name that we get to say here in the Dattitude podcast, the Dat Family, Michelle Castro Araglado Neesmith. Hello, Fun Day Monday. Let's go. Jason Benson. So you slept late. It's okay. You can go back and see what you missed afterward. Mark Gapsky says, Saints win 10. Gabe should get a Saints tattoo. You would rather stop watching football than get a Saints tattoo?
Yes.
What if it was like, I don't know, like a small one on your back or something?
I would never get a Saints anything tattooed on my body.
All right, I like it. All right, Charles says, shave your head.
No.
You would rather stop watching football than shave your head?
Yeah. Because if the Saints win 10 games, I clearly know nothing, and I need to watch other sports.
Preacher Man says, if they do, you got to come on and eat crow.
There is a 0.0% chance this team wins 10 games.
But if they would, even though
it will not happen.
Okay, at least say 0.01%. Right?
No,
you got to say 0.0.
This team will, unless this team trades for Patrick Mahomes, they're not winning 10 games.
Earl says, come on, man. At least a small fleur-de-lis. That's some good stuff, man. Y'all are in rare mode.
I appreciate the optimism, but I'm getting sick and tired of all these definitives. Tyler Shough sucks. Spencer Rattler sucks. Kellen Moore is incredible. The Saints are going to win 10 games. People, they've been in training camp. They haven't put on pads until now.
Why are you poo-pooing on our Saints, man?
It's not. No. It's not just. I'm speaking in definitives right now. It's just insane. You don't know anything about Tyler Shough.
You think you know, but you don't, and you never will. There's the NFC South odds, by the way. The Bucs are better than, well, right at even money, basically, to win the division. Falcons plus 250. They haven't changed over the weekend. Panthers plus 380. See, this is why the odds makers agree with you that there's basically no chance the Saints going to win 10 games. They are plus 1,400 to win the division. Look, when we go off here, I want you to look up like alternate wins and tell me, or maybe you could do it quickly. I don't know.
I can do it quickly.
What are the odds for the Saints? What is the over 9.5? The alt wins. David says you're in quite a mood. Did you have a rough weekend?
No, I'm just so tired of the definitives, and be it negative or positive, like just people talking about. There's been a ton of comments this morning saying Tyler Shough sucks. Do I think Tyler Shough is going to be a good quarterback? Yeah. No, I don't. I think chances are this is one of the worst quarterback rooms that we've seen in a while. This quarterback room has all-time bad potential. However, saying he sucks before he's even taken a snap in a preseason game is
absolutely crazy. I 100% agree with that. Just like, I mean, you can't even say Spencer Rattler sucks because the little bit. I'm not saying he sucks because of what I saw. I am saying I am worried about his future potential because of what I saw. One smoke, worry about the Texans O-line, Gabe. The Saints definitely have the better O-line.
Who's going to win more games, One Smoke? Which one has a franchise quarterback and a franchise coach and one of the best defenses in the league?
Hey, you just said we don't know anything about Tyler Shough. Maybe the Saints do have their franchise quarterback.
The chances are much, much greater that they don't.
But you're not saying 0.0.
He's not been. Yeah, because I've never seen it.
Jason Benson. Oh my God, they're insane. Let's get in pads and then see where we're at.
Voice of reason.
Lance says it's not optimism. He says the talent is there. The coaching is there.
Every year
a team surprises.
What talent is there? What talent is there?
There's talent. I do like the offensive line. I do like, well,
your
I don't like the depth.
Could be top half in the league.
And look, the offense could be there. I'm trying to think of the ceiling for ranking of this offense. And I'm going to say like 20-ish.
Jim, you just spent
hold on.
minutes talking about Cam Akers being an important piece on your offense.
No, I didn't. I said I hope he's an important piece of the offense. Is it a hope that he is? Big difference. So anyway, I think the ceiling for this offense ranking wise is probably 20th. But that's only if, in a big if, no one gets hurt or no one really important gets hurt. So that's why I have trouble with optimism, I guess. Look, if you want to be optimistic, great. But the reason why I'm more on your side than I'm on Lance's side is because if everything has to go right for this team, basically offensively to be ranked 20th, defensively, I think the best case scenario, because if you look at 2 years ago, they were 7th. Last year, they were absolutely awful. They're in transition. I think their best case ceiling scenario is probably middle of the pack, 16th. So if you're talking about best case scenario, offensively 20th ranked and defensively 16th, say, that's your best case scenario. That doesn't equal 10 wins. And that's your best case scenario.
Plus 850 over 9.5 wins, by the way.
Lynn Durham doesn't sound very optimistic. He says, what quarterback out there in the Saints pick up by week 4? I mean, are the Saints going to go through Shough and Rattler by week 4?
No, probably not.
Oh, got some.
I mean, we've long said it. I said it on our Derek Carr comment. Welcome to the rebuild.
We knew that already.
You're going to sit through these quarterbacks whether you like it or not.
Gypsy Quill says it's obviously too soon to judge the quarterback room of the Saints. At the latter of preseason is a good time. I don't think the latter, Gypsy. I think that. Are you with me that with this team, I think it benefits the Saints to name a starting quarterback by like the second week of preseason. So what is that? 3 weeks from now?
It benefits anyone or anything until we get to the first game of the season. Even then, I don't even think it benefits them the first.
I think that whoever the starting quarterback needs to start getting all of the first team reps by at least the second or third week of camp.
Yeah, but I mean, you talked about it earlier. You could see a situation if you wanted to compare. I think if you want to compare this situation to one of the Texans, and the only reason I bring that up because you asked me earlier, I would compare it more to the Tom Savage to Deshaun Watson Texans. As opposed to the CJ Stroud, because Davis Mills had already had a couple years as a starter, and CJ Stroud was a top 3 pick when he came in, whereas Deshaun Watson, later half of the first round, essentially, and Tom Savage was still young and unknown.
Yeah.
Tom Savage started, he was named the starter.
Okay.
He started the first half of the first game of the season, and then they went with Deshaun the rest of the way. I think you might see something similar if Rattler
you think they make a change in the middle of the first game?
No, I'm not saying the middle of the first game per se. I'm just saying I think you could see Rattler start early.
I think Rattler is going to play. I think they're both going to play.
Struggles, you could see Shough.
I think they're going to find a way, even when they name a number 1 quarterback, there are going to be times I think you're going to see both of them. I don't know how it's going to work. I just think you're going to see both of them play. I don't know. Smoke says he stays in Houston and he gets sick of the Texans hype. And Earl says
that happens in any city that you stay in.
Earl says 0.0 Texans make the Super Bowl. You can't say that. Let's say you can't just look. We're not just picking just to pick. There's no way you can't see 0.0. Texas. I think
the next decade, that's great.
Make the Super Bowl. I think this probably. I don't know.
Do I think the chances are low? Probably.
I don't think they're that low. I think 30% or so.
I think they are because you're in a conference with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I mean, people don't think about this, but Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're probably in the middle of their careers now or close to it. Lamar Jackson, at least middle of his career, maybe on the other side of middle.
No. Lamar Jackson's still yet to his peak, I think.
You think? I don't know.
He's still really young.
Lamar Jackson.
He's still 20.
Like he's 28.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, mobile quarterbacks, I just don't know. He'd have to change his game in about 4 or 5 years. I don't know.
We'll see.
Anyway, but the point is, the reason why I think that's kind of crazy to say, I think the Texans have a decent chance, and I'll say like 30% to make the Super Bowl, and then over the next 10 years. Because
I don't know if I'd go with
CJ Stroud is his 3rd year coming up. So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm taking a. Oh Lordy! Breaking news: Deion Sanders reveals he had
cancer.
Had bladder cancer.
Yeah, he did.
What does that mean? Means he's still coaching?
He had a based on the quotes, he had a tumor in his bladder, and his bladder was removed.
His bladder is removed.
That's
wow.
what.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the quote says.
Okay.
For his medical team. He had 14 surgeries.
Prayers go out to Deion. Wow. Anyway. Lance wants to know, is CJ Shough? We don't want to spend too much time talking about the Texans, but is CJ a franchise quarterback?
Yes.
Absolutely. He's a franchise. There's no look. Who was knocking C.J. Stroud more than me before he started his rookie season? Me, because I've knocked every Ohio State quarterback that's ever entered the NFL. But I'll say this. I've said it 100 times now. I'll say it again. I was absolutely wrong about C.J. Stroud. He's 100% a franchise quarterback. That's ridiculous. Now you're just messing with him. Let's see.
No, I'm not even.
Yeah, Earl says he was goofing. He's goofing. All right. Gypsy Quill says, no matter who the starter quarterback is, we all know Kellen Moore is going to run the ball predominantly. This will take the flack off the quarterback.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yes and no. I think people are putting too much on how much he ran the ball last year. There's nothing even Alvin Kamara. He's 30 years old. There's nothing in the ballpark of a Saquon Barkley on this football team.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm worried about. If Cam Akers is going to feature predominantly in your offense, or if he has a chance to, that's really worrying. You're not going to be anywhere near a 10-win football team if that's the case.
All right, what you got for me before we start wrapping up the show here? By the way, you got 10 more minutes to get your Saints comments in before we end this show this morning on this Mano Monday. It's been kind of a feisty show. I like it. I like feisty. One thing is, Gabe, I think sometimes we talk too much about Shough and Rattler, but it was a week in the camp. We kind of hadn't, since we came back from that first show, we came back from vacation, we talked about it. We hadn't as much. I knew maybe it was a good time to do it. And on a Mano Monday, it was sure spicy this morning. I like it. So anyway, what you got for me before we say goodbye today? I know you didn't come on to talk about Shough, Rattler, and C.J. Stroud, but
no, I mean, there's been a lot more Texans talk tonight.
What do you think about the Bill Simmons thing, by the way? I mean, you're a Houston guy.
I think your reaction, I think he got the reaction he wanted out of people, and I think you're part of that.
Yeah, I agree. I fed into it.
I really do. I think it's tough because, like you said, if Gail Benson doesn't want the team to leave, then they won't, barring any craziness.
Real quick, hold on. By the way, if you missed the beginning of the show, I encourage you all to go back and watch when we're done here. And I had about a 5-minute rant on Bill Simmons's just ridiculous comment about basically that the NBA needs to move out of New Orleans. And in his fabricated buzz, quote unquote buzz, there's a buzz. There is no buzz. His fabricated buzz that the Pelicans could be leaving New Orleans, or at least should leave New Orleans. And I gave multiple reasons why what he said was absolute just horse hockey. So that's what we're talking about here this morning.
I think your outrage comes more from the headline than it does his actual quotes. I think that headline was very misleading, and I think it was meant to get people to click on it.
But there were other headlines. It wasn't just here us at NOLA.com. There were other headlines, and I'd have to go find them. I'm not going to do that here on live TV, but there were other headlines across other publications that had nothing to do with New Orleans that said similar things, probably trying to invite the reception that I gave it, I guess.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, and like I said, unless the rug is pulled out from under Gail Benson by the city, which I don't think it's going to be, I don't think the Pelicans are going to move if she doesn't want them to move or she doesn't want to sell. I think the NBA could look to relocate teams as opposed to add expansion teams. I think he's right in that sense.
Yeah.
For the reasons that he gave, because teams already have their TV deals and they're not going to want to share that money with additional teams.
Yeah.
I think New Orleans is one of the franchises that you have to look at as a quote unquote candidate to move because of how the last few years have gone, but
not the last few years, just last year. And even then, like I said,
the last few years,
they were not no. I mean, they were 103% capacity 2 years ago. I mean, they were second in the league in capacity in the Smoothie King Center.
In capacity percentage.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fit any more people. What are you going to add 4,000 seats to the Smoothie King Center? I mean, they were averaging well over 16,000.
Franchises would advocate for a bigger stadium.
it's not that small in the NBA. It's probably
No,
average.
I'm not
size.
saying it is. I'm don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying there are greedy owners out there, Jim. I don't think Gail Benson is one of them, but there are some owners who I believe they're what 17,900 roughly in Smoothie King Center.
I think that's about right. I think maybe a tinge less.
There are some owners out there who would say, "Oh, 18 is my magic number. Get me there, or I'm leaving." And like I said, Gail Benson's not that kind of owner, but there are owners out there who want to maximize the profits. And I just think in terms of teams that are rooted in their cities,
yeah.
Like I said, it's not going to happen because Gail.
Well, I mean, when you think Saints,
but the Pelicans are probably one of the ones that, if they eventually wanted to move, it would be possible. I don't think it is. I see both sides of it, outrage, but I think the whole thing was blown a little out of proportion.
This is a topic we're probably going to talk about again at some point. Maybe not next show, but we're going to talk about this again at
Jim,
some point.
If the buzz is real, we'll be talking about it for a while because buzz.
By the way, before I let you go this morning, there was something I wanted to give you a shout out for. Where is it on my phone? There was something that I wanted to give you a shout out for, and here we go on live TV once again. The first round pick for the Bengals are having a brain fart. Shamar Stewart signed. Gabe and I were talking, and I brought it up on a show about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. We were talking about how he hadn't signed yet and the potential possibilities of what might happen if he didn't sign. Well, he signed yesterday, and you were saying you don't think it's a big deal because he's going to sign at some point. And I said I still thought it was a story. Anyway, shout out to you because you pretty much knew he was going to get signed, and he did. I still think it was a story at the time, but shout out to you because you were 100% right that he was going to sign. So we'll see what you were 100% right on.
Yeah, I mean, it's soon. Yeah, it's stories like that are just.
They were blown. They do blow things out of proportion.
The stories from the ML. I actually, truth be told, because when you sent me that, the whole thing about him potentially going back to college, it was ML football. Who tweeted that? And I hate citing these aggregate accounts because they're just the worst.
They are.
So I actually had to block ML football and Dov on Twitter because some of the stuff that they're posting now is just so shameless and so meant for engagement. It's ridiculous.
I know that's the world we live in, and unfortunately, I don't know. Anyway,
well, their post earlier was talking about a new contract signed by a Chargers offensive lineman, and he signed it like weeks after getting divorced from his wife. So they're like, "Oh my God, this guy is so smart financially. He knows how to get a bag and not share it." And it's like, you're kidding me. Like, you're talking about someone's life here. And they're just, oh my God, they're championing this guy. They're incels is what they are. I'll say it. They're incels. And that's how we'll end my segment.
Feisty. Gabe Henderson, feisty on a Monday. I like
feisty.
It kind of goes with the show. It's been a very feisty show today, and you've helped.
I didn't even mean to be feisty.
I guess feist is a word. You've helped mature that feist.
Yeah, and I don't mean to. My intention was not to come on here and stick up for Tyler Shough because I don't think he'll be very good. I really don't, based on his college tape, based on what he did in college. But I had to defend him today because there are some people in here who are saying that he sucks, which is just crazy. Just my recommendation, and this is going to kind of be ironic coming from me after my appearance on the show today. Take a chill pill. Have fun this season.
Chill pill.
Take a chill pill. Have fun this season.
Yeah, we'll see how.
It's going to be rough.
I am interested to see how long the chill pill is going to last and how long this grace period and this honeymoon.
Based on the comments today,
if they do start 0-5, are they going to still be on the chill pill? Or are they going to be like?
Should be.
Blow it all up. They're blowing it up.
I urge everyone here, do not have expectations for this team this year.
10 wins.
Because if you have expectations, you can only be let down. You're not going to the playoffs.
Okay.
your biggest hope should be the most optimistic thing you can hope for this season. Hope you find a franchise quarterback.
We'll see. All right.
Hope Tyler Shough's your guy, your offensive line takes that next step.
Bring that Feist back on Wednesday.
I will.
All right. See you then.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Gabe Henderson, check him out, sportsbookreview.com. Sportsbookreview.com. We'll have some more feistiness. All right, we got some comments to close out the show. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the Dattitude YouTube channel, please do so. Give us a like. Let's see, what have we missed here? Preacher Man says, this season will be based off of Kellen Moore's leadership. If he makes good decisions, this team can be a winner. I hope you're right. I think he'll make good decisions. I think it's going to be tough to do that. Sean says, he must not remember. He's Shough, Danny Werfel, Steve Walsh, and Billy Joe's days. No, he doesn't. He's too young. How could he remember any of those? Schuler. No, he doesn't remember any of those, I promise. Reginald says, is Shough a quarterback who can get the playoffs with or Rattler? The answer would be neither. The Saints, again, this isn't just negative. This is reality. The Saints have the 32nd ranked quarterback room, and number 31 is quite a ways away. They have 0 football wins on this roster at quarterback, not counting Taysom Hill. Okay. 0 wins in the quarterback room, and that includes the coaches. Okay. That includes the coaches. Lynn, I'm going to show this because every level-headed commenter, I try to show every level-headed commenter's comment. What do I think about the Washington team being told to change their name back to the Redskins? That is way too political for me to get into on this show, and I ain't getting into it. Do I have personal feelings on it? Yes. But I don't feel like giving them. I'll give opinions on a lot of stuff. That ain't one of them. Not today. Who dat? We don't need Kamara to be Barkley rushing yards, a 2K, Alvin, 1,100. Rushing yards? Almost 0 chance. I've talked about this on the left. He has never rushed for 1,000 yards in his career. It ain't going to happen this year either. He's 30 years old. Gabe, if you could find this out in the last couple minutes of the show, great. If you can't, I'll use it Wednesday. Has there ever been a running back that was 30 years or older, 30 years old or older, who rushed for 1,000 yards for the first time when he was 30 or older? Has there ever been? And my guess is no. So it ain't going to happen this year. And even if there has been one, the odds of Alvin Kamara rushing for 1,000 yards are almost the same as the Saints winning 10 games. Not quite, but close. Charles Mangan says, this is the best show on podcast. You love the show, and Gabe and I bring so much knowledge. We bring feist. Oscar says he's happy we're talking about more than the running backs on this Mano Monday. It's a tough call on who will be out this year. We don't have a bad running back group. You take out Alvin Kamara, and don't get me wrong, you take out anybody's number one running back and things slip. But depth-wise, where does this team rank? If you take running back rooms and take out everybody's first string, their best running back, where would the Saints fit in? Maybe not 32nd, but probably in the bottom 5 or 6, I guess. Did you put the mic in front of me and you want to come back on and tell me something? All right. What you got?
Yes, actually, there have been running backs who've rushed for over 1,000 yards for the first time. One was recently. It was 2023. Okay. Raheem Mostert. 1,012 yards for the first time in his career. He was 31. But the caveat to that is he was never really a starter. His 209 carries in 2023 were the most of his career to date.
Yeah. And there's no way Kamara has the most carries of his career this year. 0 chance.
No, absolutely not. And 2022, that he started more than 10 games.
All right.
So
how many
his
have there
usage
been?
really wasn't high.
How many total have done it? You have that? How many total have done it?
I don't have total. I have running
Okay.
backs who have rushed for over 1,000 yards over the age of 30, and I was kind of cross-referencing. And so I cross-referenced. That was the second running back that I cross-referenced.
Okay. So the answer is it has happened.
So it has happened, yeah. But
All
it
right.
was. I don't know if I highly doubt it happened.
You know what?
With a running back who's gotten as much usage as Kamara.
I'm going to try to put that list together, and maybe we'll have a chart either on Wednesday's show or later in the week. I'm going to try to.
Okay.
We'll see if we can get that. That'd be an interesting chart to look at because we're clearly going to talk about running back throughout the rest of camp. It's going to be a huge talking point, and how much time Kamara gets in this camp is going to be a huge talking point going forward. All right, thanks, Gabe.
Yep, no problem.
All right, last few comments here. Lance says he is feisty. I don't disagree with this part, at least the first sentence. We're playing with house money this year. That's true. There is, besides 0-17 or 1-16 or maybe 2-15, I don't think the record really matters. Anything more than 3 wins is great. That's a little much. But we win in 10. And look, I just don't think the record matters. I mean, Kellen Moore, barring something completely unforeseen, is going to get a second year. The questions are, who is going to be the quarterback? Is it whoever the quarterback is that person potentially the quarterback of the future, right? I mean, that's a big question. Those are the questions. And who's going to be RB2? Will some of these rookies on defense step up? Broughton and Stutzman. We didn't really get to talk about Stutzman that much. Maybe we'll talk about him on Wednesday. I don't know. I'm surprised y'all didn't talk more about him. Earl's Pick says, knowing how Saints fans are, if they hit the 0-5, they'll be screaming to start Haener. Start Taysom at quarterback. Anybody. It's true. You know who we talking to, Earl. A-Town says he's got 4 wins for the season. Probably pretty close. Lynn, you don't have to apologize. You can ask any question you want. Like you have not said anything or asked anything that was ridiculous. It's a fair question, but I have made it clear on the show, again, as I almost hang myself. I have made it clear on the show that anything that isn't even in the ballpark of political ain't getting into it. Just something I don't do. Gerard Simino, awesome show as usual. Thank you so much. Jason says, AK is going to be extra receiver out of the backfield. Not going to see a whole lot of up that middle anymore. Not his game. I don't know that he can't help himself. Let's see. Reginald Porter says, John Riggins of Washington, over 30. He did it. Yeah, but was it the first time that he did it? We're going to have a chart on this. I don't doubt that John Riggins did it, but I don't know that was the first time that he did it. And then even if it is, even if that's the case, you're talking like 40 years ago. So are there only 2 in the last 40 years? Raheem Mostert and John Riggins? I don't know. Sean says Gabe needs a Snickers. Come on, Gabe. That was funny. Come on now. I'll let him pick on me too. And then as we go off today, Michelle Kester, Arreglado, Neesmith. How do I feel about the... See, you had to bring... Now you're going to make me need a Snickers. How do I feel about the gold jerseys? They're not gold. They're khaki. They're bleeping awful. They're terrible. They're horrendous. They're not Saints colors. Give me a Snickers. They suck. Anything else you want to know? I don't know. You pressed my dang buttons. Riggins, Gabe says Riggins had done it before the age of 26. Reginald Porter says Stutzman is a stud. Camp Wars, Stutzman versus Miller. That should be fun. And last comment of the show. Enough said, baby. That's what I think about this khaki jerseys. All right, Tedra Covington. I'm actually going to give you. Now, I'm going to give 2 more comments. Tedra gets the penultimate comment. Second to last there. West Bank are using them big words again. Tedra feels Rattler will win the starting spot, but Shough will win the start week 1. I don't understand what that means. You mean you think Rattler's going to win the job, but they're not going to give it to Rattler? Why wouldn't they give it to Rattler if he actually won the job? I don't get it. I don't get it. This is the penultimate comment. Samuel Lindsay, who dat? And Lynn, I'm going to let you finish the show. LSU, Tulane, Southern, all going to have better years than the Saints. I can't. Record-wise, I can't say you're wrong. Can't say you're wrong. It has been a fun show, a feisty show. You see what's on the screen. And if you're listening after the fact, why haven't you already subscribed to our Dattitude YouTube page? Next show, Wednesday, July the 30th. This Wednesday, the final show of July, 11 a.m. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And you don't have to watch it live. If you're working and you can't watch us, you can watch it after the fact. We have fun on the show. There's a reason why it's called Dattitude, attitude with a D in front of it. There's a reason why it's called that, because we Dats got Dattitude. Duh. You can figure out. You don't need me to help you with that. All right. That is going to wrap it up for us on this Monday. I want to thank today's guests, Gabe Henderson, and you on this Mano-y Monday. You know what? I was worried this morning. I'm like, we haven't had a Mano-y Monday in a while. I don't know if I even know how to do Mano-y Monday. This might be like a 45, 50-minute show. We're going to come on, say a few things about Rattler. We'll get a couple comments. We'll move on. No, we had a bunch of, this was probably the most watched, at least live. This might not end up being the most watched show that we've had in the past since the Derek Carr show. I don't know. Derek Carr retired show, impromptu show. But live-wise, it was. There's no question live-wise, this is the most watched live show we had in a while. We got a lot of people watching live. Were they watching on YouTube? I don't know the analytics on that, but if you, again, finally, a reminder, you see it on the screen, subscribe and like. If you haven't already done so, why not? Subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Yeah, I'm begging. I don't care. I'll beg. If I had a little thing with change in it, I would shake it around. I don't care. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. Again, I told you that already. Monday, Tuesday. No, not Monday, Tuesday. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. NFL previews start in the form of shorts on this coming Monday. We will start with the AFC East and the NFC East. AFC East will come out at 8 a.m. in the morning. They'll be team by team, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then on Friday, if we have a guest, great. But whoever the guest is, after the guest is gone, Gabe will come on and tell me how wrong I am. And he will eat a Snickers first. And then he will tell me how wrong I am in no uncertain terms. He will bring the feist every Friday for the next 4 weeks, beginning on the 8th for show number 400. Jim Henderson's going to be on that show. Robin Fambro is coming on Wednesday. Can't wait for her. If you don't know Robin Fambro, you want to hear this story. Look, we can't be Saints 100% of the time. I don't want to be that. That's not what this show is. Robin Fambro, and I'm not exaggerating, is the GOAT of prep sports writers, as far as I'm concerned, in the history of sports writers. I learned so much from Robin, certainly a mentor of sorts and a friend. And she's going to come on the show on Wednesday and tell us about her career coming to an end. She is retiring on Friday. She's going to be on our show on Wednesday. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. There are heat advisories out there. If you live anywhere around New Orleans, I am told that the temperature in Tampa, Florida, poor babies in Tampa, feels so bad for them. I'm just kidding. Terrible. I don't want this for anyone. But first time ever in the history of Tampa, Florida, 100 degrees. Not heat index. Actual temperature of triple digits for the first time ever in Tampa, Florida. We've had that here, but it's going to be like Buster Poindexter used to say, hot, hot, hot. Maybe you get some something to keep you cool. Stay in the cool weather. You know where it's going to be cool? It's going to be cool back here on Wednesday. We will see you then. Love y'all. Take it easy, my friends.